I finally got my dog given to.
Morning. At on the items on the agenda.
All right, let's, Mr. Chair, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, you want to call the meeting to order?
Sure thing. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting of November 5th, 2025 of the Penobscot County Commission to order. At this point, I'll take the roll. Commissioner Trumbull,
Here.
Commissioner Marshall,
Here.
Mr. Treasurer,
Here.
and the chair is here. At this point, I'd ask our administrator if he would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone.
At this point, I would entertain a motion for the acceptance of the October 29th meeting minutes.
I move we accept the minutes of October 29th. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
It is unanimous. Do we have individuals present in the audience that wish to provide public comment? We allow up to 3 minutes for you to speak on an issue that would not be on the agenda.
Yes, we have Janet Drew online.
So we have Janet Drew online. Do we have anyone in the audience in the public?
No.
Don't see anybody.
Who's
All right.
online?
At this point, I would call on Janet Drew for her comments. Thank you.
Hello. Thank you. Janet Drew, York, Maine. I see on the agenda there's something about a bid for a property, and I don't know if that has anything to do with what the plans are for a new jail, but I'd like to wondered about that property. But as far as the new jail, I don't understand when you're so far, drowning in budget and the jail can't even maintain its budget, why you try to, that's your only option. When we've talked about all the other options, using diversion and support, prevention, rather than breaking up families, which is what putting people in jail and prison does. The Sacklers with their, getting everybody addicted, they're not in jail. They're making money hand over fist. But what do? We pay $100,000 a year to keep people in jail, in prison. It makes no sense to me. It starts in the jails. I'd ask you to look at the diversion program. I'd also like, the sheriff has been doing it now for a month or two, maybe, I'm not really sure. I'd like to know what its statistics look like compared to the diversion program that was in place with Maine Pretrial Services. Time, please rethink our money and our neighbors.
Conclusion of your comments, Janet?
Mr. Chairman, we ready?
All right, at this point, are there others that are present that wish to speak in the public comment section?
No one in person.
Seeing none, I will close public comments and we will move on to updates from our UT director and his capable deputy.
Morning, commissioners.
Good morning.
We're bringing back up today.
Those seats are much more comfortable than benches. You want to pull those up to the side?
Oh, no, this is fine. We're not going to be here very long. Right, George?
Right.
You're very, very impressive. I would want it added.
On the agenda is Lisa Weinhardt and Justin McMahon here with us today to answer some of the questions you guys have about how the UT budget is made up and presented. They're both from the Maine Revenue Service.
Well, thank you for joining us, ladies. Would you like to provide a brief summary or explanation? And then if there are some questions from the commission, we'll be happy to entertain those.
Sure. I'll let Justin start on how we review the sales and determine our assessed values.
Sure. What we did was we performed a revaluation, really the same as any municipality would. We follow the same guidelines as far as maintaining 70 to 110% of market value. And the last time we did a revaluation was in 2020. And when you perform a revaluation, you are using past sales. So you're using historical information. So even though you're coming up to current market value, given that the market's always changing, we find that, it's not necessarily current to when it's implemented. So the last one was 2020, and we basically just monitored sales from then, and we did see a lot of growth over those years, but we weren't quick to react because, well, we didn't know if there was going to be some sort of recession. Right. And so we did that really for as long as we could, and there was just so much growth over those, we'll just say 5 years, primarily, starting in 2021 and up into, 2025, really. So we analyzed sales from April 1st of 2022 up until April 1st of 2024, anticipating implementing it for the 2025 tax year. We looked at what properties sold for as compared to what our assessments were. The purpose for that is not just, sometimes people don't always go up the same amount. Sometimes it shuffles the tax burden because as time goes by, certain classes of property may grow at a different rate than others. So the purpose is to get the values up to market value, but it also may be taking care of any inequities that have happened over the time periods between the two revaluations. and that will result in a shift in tax burden. So what we did was we looked at those sales, identified how much growth there had been in areas. If we had areas that didn't have a lot of sales to go by, we would assume that they would be, subject to that same market growth as what we're seeing on average across the unorganized territory. So we tried to keep things as fair as we could as far as if there were no sales in a particular area, that doesn't mean there's no growth, and we would keep their value lower. We would apply the same methodology that we developed when we did the revaluation and created new tables, land values. For the buildings, we create a replacement cost, and we then depreciate that replacement cost according to the age and condition of the structures on the property. So that's the basics of the revaluation.
So was that done in-house, or did you guys have an outside agency do it?
No, we did it in-house, due to the cost. Municipalities, that is a large, burdensome expenditure for them. Oftentimes, they save a little bit each year so that when a revaluation does take place, they're not forced to take a whole bunch of additional money that needs to be collected and cause a large increase in the mill rate. We were fortunate where we just mixed it in with our yearly work and made it happen.
Dustin, when you talked about growth, what do you mean by growth?
Growth in the real estate market.
What does that entail? That doesn't mean expanding it. You're talking about
Growth in value, meaning properties that were once worth $200,000 now being worth
so it's
$500,000.
property valuation growth, not necessarily,
Correct.
okay.
We do get growth as far as through new structures being built, which helps to,
Defray
alleviate
the cost.
increases in mill rates, for instance, just with
Right.
general increase in budgets.
And what constitutes real property? Because it talks about taxing real property. What is constitute real property in the,
Real property is generally the land and the improvements associated with it. So basically excluding things like personal property, which may be, more of like a tractor or some other
Inside
sort of.
yeah.
a former friend of mine, well, he's still a friend. He may not be after this question, but he used
Hope I'm not
to
on that list, but.
do assessments for the state. He worked for your department for many years. I called him and asked him about the methodology in which these properties are assessed. He informed me that it is not as uniform, that it really depends on each assessor. Is that correct? Each assessor has his methodology of, sometimes they visit, sometimes they drive by. I mean, there's a different combination to determine value. Would he be accurate in that assessment?
Yeah, I would say that, depending on the type of activity that's taking place on the property might depend on how much attention we may need to put forth in it. For instance, if somebody drills a well and they tell us they drill a well, well, we treat all drilled wells at the same value. So we could simply add that value. I don't need to do much more than, I guess I could drive by and look for a casing, or I could take their word for it, but I don't need to go put a tape measure down the well or anything like that.
But if they didn't report it and you didn't
Then
go
we're
by, you
forced
would-
during our routine inspections to,
Right.
that's one of our things, is to try to identify, is there plumbing? And if there is plumbing, how's the water getting there? Is it coming from the lake? If they're not near a body of water, is it coming from a spring, or or is there a well?
And do you ever enter into the premises of these, like, to do real property assessment? I mean,
When I would say
I mean,
enter the
personal
premises, generally personal property.
personal, what would the term be? Internal improvements.
We
Would you
do
be subject to
not,
taxation?
generally, the properties that we're dealing with are residential properties, so none of the furnishings within the property would be constituted as personal property that we would assess. As far as like with businesses within the personal would have personal property, we send them yearly inventory forms so that they can report that personal property. We oftentimes will go to site during our routine inspections, but we have half of the state and about 4 of us that are able to do that sort of work. So the inspections can be sort of spaced out, so we do rely on mailings.
So really, it's, a lot of it is willful compliance on the part of the
A
property.
lot of it is
And a
honesty and
degree of
also
integrity and honesty.
our understanding of the business
Understandable.
and maybe what equipment would be associated with that business.
You said it was 5 years since the last reval, was
Yeah.
is it normally 10, you just did 5 because of the increases?
So there's sort of this myth of doing a revaluation every 10 years, and that's due to the law stating a general valuation be taken every 10 years, and that's actually is sort of not the same as a revaluation. A general valuation dates back to when, personal property tax is one of the oldest taxes really that we have. And so oftentimes, and the assessing was done by the town fathers at that time, or select board. And so it was always, when the assessor showed up, as soon as the assessor left, that was when the tools came out, because they probably wouldn't come by for another 10 years. So you could build that barn. Assessing was done, they counted head of cattle and pigs and taxed you on them, and it's changed a lot. But a revaluation is done on an as-need basis. So many municipalities didn't have revaluations from 2009 up until 2020 because we were really in sort of a flat enough market that.
Right.
No, I understand, I'm just saying generally how often, in 5 years seems
We
like.
review properties every year, but
Right,
our,
I'm just talking about the revaluation, how often do we usually do it?
Prior to 2020, when was the last
Yeah, that's.
evaluation?
16.
Oh, okay, so
we
it's-
So it was
saw values.
2016.
Yeah.
So it was 2016, 2020.
Yeah. St. Town probably do them not as often because, like you said, they're
It's
hired
expensive,
at
yeah.
firm, it's not cheap to do it, so, well, you could do it in-house.
You recall prior to 2016, the pre,
2006. 2006.
2006, oh, I think.
2006.
No,
I
it's
said
16.
So it was
2006.
2006.
Oh, then,
and
oh, okay,
2016.
Oh, okay,
2020
so,
and 2025.
10 years.
Like your opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're in the 10-year cycle, and that meets that falls within your ability to
Just with general growth, yeah, that's where it's sort of fallen into that whole 70 to 110%, you usually find every 10 years that you've almost, you've got enough growth to reval.
In 1970, you were constituted in 1970, right? The land use,
The organized territory.
I was in the legislature, I was on the committee, I was on taxation. I don't really remember,
Yeah.
I confess, I don't really remember this coming up.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, that was almost 50 years ago, and the reason obviously is because we were concerned at the time, people were just, with land use, ILURC back then, land use regulation, people were dumping pollutants into our lakes and our streams up in northern Penobscot County, and this is why this was constituted. And now the agency, your agency is funded, the Revenue Service is funded to provide the information to make these informed decisions, correct? That hasn't changed, right? Your budget still comes out of the state, right? I mean, well,
No, the budget comes out of the,
I would say a lot of that might be
Yeah.
land use that might have been developed.
it's one of the
for
component
shoreline
aspects of your state component. That's correct?
so that would be a question for Harold Jones, as far as what goes into the state
No,
portion of it.
I read it, I see it, I just want you to confirm it. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't want to, go ahead, continue.
No, I find any other questions.
Okay, thank you, Justin.
Has there been any statistical analysis or just a simple analysis of like the growth in the UT in comparison to organized territories? So do you understand just from that?
Yeah, no, we're using sales specifically to the unorganized territories, so, we have about 1,200 deeds a year that we process and we sort through those. A lot of them aren't what we would consider arm's length transactions, meaning it's a transaction between family members, relatives, or there's some other special circumstance, possibly maybe it's in tree growth or some other current use program. But we sort through those and we observe our assessments compared to what the sale prices are on those arm's length transactions.
Very similar question, so you don't have to specific data, but I'm assuming if I own a wood lot, 100 acres in UT, that probably didn't change much. If I owned 100 acres with a 2,500 square foot decent house, that probably went up a lot, because people are coming to Maine during COVID, and they'd buy houses. And then if I owned that same property on a lake in the UT, it probably went up, it probably doubled in price. Is that pretty accurate?
Absolutely, just as sort of a snapshot from above, buildings generally went up about a 40%. Land it varied some, and you're right, the off-water stuff, we found our house lots about doubled, so we'll just say like a $12,000 house lot became a $25,000 house lot. And then our excess acres, it didn't adjust terribly significantly. I would say like a couple $100 per acre, and that would be the additional acreage past that house lot.
Right.
And then waterfront, as always, being more desirable, says the market, saw a much higher increase. So, those $100,000 lots, maybe $250,000 lots. And then that's where you get that shift in tax burden, to the waterfront folks oftentimes.
What percentage of the unorganized territory is under tree growth? Do you have that?
Yeah, unorganized territory is comprised of roughly 9.5 million acres, and I would say 7.5 million of that is in the tree growth program.
And what percentage of that would, as it relates to, well, I'm looking, the reason I'm asking is, as it relates to homestead exemption. And am I correct? Well, let me ask. Homestead exemption, for those people who own homes, say on a lake up in Millinocket Lake, who owns a home up there and it's their primary residence, they qualify for the Homestead Exemption Act if they meet the state criteria, correct?
Yes.
And it's $25,000?
Correct.
If it's someone from away, it's a second home, it doesn't qualify.
Correct.
And the state reimburses the county for that exemption.
76%.
76% or 75?
And it does, and I believe it's this, it's the state that's making the reimbursement. I don't know if it goes to the county.
No, it goes to
UT.
the
Goes to the
UT.
UT.
Yeah, it goes to the UT. And that's 75%, you think?
76%
76%. Now here's the kicker question. The tree growth, the other percentage of the tree, it's my understanding that tree growth is not reimbursed by the county. Do you have any idea why that is? That an oversight by the legislature, do you think, or?
I don't believe it's in statute that the unorganized territory would
I
get.
can't.
I don't believe it's in statute that the unorganized territory would get tree growth reimbursement.
It's not in the statute.
I don't- Right.
When they created it, I think we overlooked
Intentional or
it.
unintentional, it's,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I think it was an oversight back in, all right, because when I was in the legislature, tree growth was very important to the mill companies back there. It was an incredible part of why the mills were successful for as long as they were, is they were not assessed at the same rate as the homesteads. And I was curious, I don't really remember, but it's my understanding that tree growth is not reimbursed, and that would have to be resolved legislatively. And that revenue would then revert to the county, if it's similar to the homestead exemption.
Or UT.
Well, the homestead
The
exemption.
UT, I mean, yeah, I say the
To the
county.
state.
I'm talking about the UT aspect of the county now. Yeah. Okay, thank you. We'll look into that. Thank you.
Okay, so now we'll just talk about the mill rate real quick. So once the values are all determined and the budgets are submitted, we get a document called the municipal cost component that has the budget that, for Penobscot County, we're just gonna use George as an example, George's budget.
Yeah.
And then we would also receive the county budget for the county tax. So when we determine the mill rate for the unorganized territory, there's three parts of the mill rate. The first part would be for the county services. So we take the total taxable value for all taxable property in Penobscot County, and we divide that by the total of George's budget to come up with one portion of the tax rate. And then the next portion of the tax rate is the state services budget. And so that is all state agencies that have anything to do with the unorganized territory, and there's only a handful of them. It would be, education for unorganized territory children. My budget includes Justin and a few of our staff, a little bit of DHHS, a little bit of forestry, and LUPC. And we take the total taxable value of all properties in the unorganized territory, and we determine what the mill rate is for that. So we add those two mill rates together, and then we round up to the nearest quarter mill. And that, from the actual to the rounding up, is what you'd use as the overlay. And then for the county tax portion, it's the same thing. We use the county tax, and we use just a taxable value for Penobscot County. And then we add those two portions together to determine what the tax rate is.
And that's a simple mathematical formula.
Simple math.
There's no political decision in that. That is just simple math,
Right.
very understandable.
Yeah,
And interesting, compared to municipalities, it's sort of set by statute as far as that rounding and
Right.
whatnot, as opposed to sort of saying, hey, we have this much to work with, what do we need for an overlay? It's just, it's built into the way the law
Yeah.
is wrote.
Well, let me ask this question about when I get my tax bill, my home up in Millinocket, it's broken down, the local thing is broken down into education, school costs, the town, the city, and the county, and it's enumerated. So I can quickly look at that and say, oh yeah, this is where I need to make some cuts, or where I could make some cuts. Is the tax bill, and I haven't seen a property card, is the tax bill, does it break it down?
it does not.
And what, question is, why doesn't it break it down? And if it did break it down, what might it look like? If you did break it down, would you have a recommendation on how it should be broken down?
Well, it would look very similar to a municipality, because we would do, county services.
That would not be something
Taxes,
difficult for your
taxes.
office to come up with, for the individual
And
cards?
so I would have to look and see if it says in statute we're required to do that.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying,
And I would
I
say-
think right now I know it's not, and I'm
Right.
wondering whether it takes statutory authorization from the legislature.
Right.
Because all of these things are determined by Augusta. It's not determined by you.
Right.
It's not determined by us, it's determined by the state legislature. And in doing so, it might help people understand their county bill as easily as they understand their local bill. Not saying it's gonna be any sweeter a message, but at least they can see it broken down and understand the components and the relationship between them. And I think that helps. And I know that it's not within your authority, that would have to be something that would be brought to the legislature. Okay, that's another bill, okay, thank you.
You were going over, you started out, I think, going over the mill rate, so it must have dropped, yes, and the mill rate dropped this year?
Yes.
Yeah.
It dropped
Substantially?
in most counties, yes.
Well, let's talk about UT and Penobscot. What do you-
I got it right.
Last year, it was what? 909, and this year it was 652.
Oh,
Was 909 last year, George? And what is it this year?
652.
652.
well, but I thought you had to round to the nearest quarter, so how do you get?
Well, we
909
do, that's adding the two services together,
Oh,
and then
okay.
you add in your county tax
Okay.
portion.
So that just reflects,
So the roundings before, yeah.
Yes,
so that 6.2 reflects the aggregate or just one of the three?
Aggregate.
aggregate.
It's the aggregate.
Okay, I suspect there'll probably be more information that we would desire, but perhaps for today, we could wrap up with one or two more questions and then allow these folks to consider coming back if we wanted to do maybe an educational session where we would allow more public exposure.
Yeah, I have some questions I'd like, we can answer today, we don't need to bring you back. And it's things for my own edification, because I've been away from Augusta from a few years, so I need to know how they work. And now, since the chairman interjected, now I've gotten the point I was going to pursue in this. So, let me think about that for a minute.
Stop thinking about it, it'll come back to you, it works every time.
You know it's going to come back the minute you leave. That's the way it
We could
works.
always do.
Oh, I know this.
Yeah,
And I don't know if I've mentioned it, did I mention the concept of maybe a heritage tax similar to the homestead exemption? Did we talk about that? We have the Homestead Exemption Act right now for the state of Maine, for citizens of the state of Maine, well, no, applicable both to the organized and the unorganized parts of our state. One of the things we're seeing is that a lot of folks who own camps generation camps have been in their camp for, it's maybe 2-3 generations. They are being impacted by the transactional cost of their neighbors. And it's a formula that's set by the state. They have no control over it, we have no control over it. And you have no control. It's simply that you use these changing transactions as a basis for valuing similar located properties. So as these properties increase in value and are sold and increase, it has a corresponding impact on all of those who have no intention of selling their place. It's been in their family for years, yet they find themselves increasingly facing increased property taxes unrelated to their real economic circumstance. So one of the things I'm thinking of is similar to having a Homestead Exemption Act is the possibility of a Heritage Exemption Act. And this would be similar to, say, the Homestead Exemption 25,000, whatever it might be. This would require state legislation again, but I want to get your thoughts on this. If we had a heritage to try and it would only be applicable to people who owned their camp, it was a primary rental, or maybe not be a primary, but had been in the family for years. And it would be a recognition or either a freeze or some lower rate at which might give them some tax relief and allow them to keep there. Because I remember growing up, my family did not have a camp. We weren't wealthy in my town growing up, my family. And we didn't have a camp, but I was fortunate to be invited up to my neighbor's camp. And going to camp, we call it up to camp, going up to camp in the summertime for kids was a wonderful, wonderful experience. And I want to make sure that continues, and that our people who own these camps, who just want to own it and it's been in their family for years, are not priced out of the market due to people coming in from away who have deeper pockets and can buy things that we can't hope to compete with. So my thought is perhaps a heritage tax honoring that is something that could be considered. Is that something, I'd just like to know, I'm not asking you to commit to anything, but what are your thoughts on something of that, a concept, something like that? How would you, is that something that could be implemented by your department if it was passed by the legislature?
I mean, if it was passed by the legislature, it would be required to do it.
Yeah.
Commissioner, if I may, let's bear in mind that these folks are not the policymakers. They do their job as they are instructed, and I never not put them in a position of speaking to
My question is to, if these changes took place, would they be able to implement those things? Would it be an undue burden to them? That was the point of the inquiry. And thank you for your answer. You've answered it. Thank you.
Okay. Any concluding comments that you would like to share with the commission? I assume that this is a process that you're being asked to explain in a number of territories, and if you have some predicted changes that are coming up, I'm wondering if there's anything that you're aware of that you might want to share with us at this point.
I don't believe we have any changes that are coming up. We're going to kind of maintain what we did for assessments this year. We've made a couple of adjustments based on abatements and supplemental requests, but everything is going to be the same.
Great.
I just want to make a point, Mr. Chairman, the commission just was up in the UT maybe a month or 6 weeks ago, saw quite a bit of the area, and we were in the UT, which is right next to Lincoln. And I mean, you could go remote parts of the UT or right next to Lincoln. But the point when you hear what the rate is, you could have a $400,000 house in the UT, which would be 5 minutes from Lincoln, and you'd be paying $2,400 in taxes. And if you had that same house in Lincoln, I'm guessing you'd probably be paying twice that amount of taxes. So even though I know we saw a big jump this year in valuation, it's still, I think, a pretty good value for people, the tax rate in the UT.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's true. We appreciate and appreciate the information you coming here today to answer these questions and help us understand this formula better. It's been a while, and you really helped me to understand how things have changed and and to highlight some of the issues I think we need to address going forward. Thank you, Lisa, Jason.
Thanks.
I'll ask Lisa and Justin to sit if they want to, and we're gonna present the budget next for the UT. Because they're the ones that's gonna make it in the bill for everybody, they ought to hear why it's up, what our budget covers.
You want to see
So
the
the budget looks like-
sausage being made?
The budget looks like this. The face page of the budget tells you all the expenses and all the reserves are all right there. So you can see what department went up, which part of the budget increased or decreased. If we go down through the face page, any questions you have can be answered in the backup documents in the rest of the budget. You'll see $90,000 increase in snow removal. We have 7 of our 9 plow contracts that are up for bid this year, so we added 10% to that overall budget, not knowing for sure what that cost is gonna be. We hope we don't get a greater than a 10% increase in those snow removal budgets. So that's our largest increase. You get down to fire protection, we all know all of our fire contracts have gone up drastically in the last 3 years. So we've put those increases in there. Some are contractual and some are, we know that contracts are up, we have to renegotiate them. So we took a stab in the dark at what those increases would be. Law enforcement's up 15,400. That's to our sheriff's department for 2 deputies. That's a contract with them for both 2 deputies and their vehicles. Ambulance service has been up every year for the last 3 years, so it's up. We took another stab at that. Some of those are contracts that are 3 or 4 years long, and some of those are negotiated every year, so we took a stab at what that would be. So the major increases have been in those 4 categories. Animal control, you remember that we put a vehicle in under our regional animal control officer, one of our used vehicles. So we added $10,650 to that category. For wages, for her wages, we're increasing some of her wages and to cover the cost of that vehicle. To follow up with that comment, you'll see we also added $14,000 in revenue later in the budget. You'll see $14,000 in revenue for animal control, and that's what we charge other towns for her mileage. So it should be better than a wash.
Yeah.
So I added 10,000 in bridge maintenance escrow. We used to have a bridge maintenance escrow and we got rid of it a few years back. We brought it back this year. It's a round number of 10,000. We've got 108,000 in reserve right now for 2 low redundancy bridges we're gonna have to replace in the next 10 years. I'm working with the DOT now to identify what that replacement's gonna look like and how far down the road is that bridge replacement gonna be.
Does the bridge replacement include culverts and under the bridges?
It'll include bridges only. Culverts are in the road maintenance.
Oh,
budget, but that'll include bridges and bridge maintenance.
Yeah.
Any scouring of a bridge that we have to go in and fix and repair, we have to pay for that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we looked at that one that's scheduled, I think, this next spring.
What brought it to light for me this year was 2 counties had some real major washouts and some bridges they had to repair, and they really hit their budgets hard just to catch up. So I wanted to continue to reserve a little bit, knowing in the future we're gonna have some bridge maintenance to do. So you'll see at the bottom of that page that it's, we went from 2.6 to 2.8 as the increase in the overall budget. But to help offset some of that increase, last year we brought 350,000 forward from undesignated fund balance to help offset some of that increase. This year we brought in 480,000 in undesignated fund balance to help keep from having a huge increase in the tax bill. I think our people are used to some increases this year. We hope they live with them. And we don't want to hit them again next year. So this would be a good year to bring in some of that undesignated fund balance to help balance the budget out. The overall net effect on the very last page, you'll see it's like a $40,000 increase overall in the budget.
Good. Yeah, George, thank you. And I want to point out that in the services area, under fire protection ambulance service, we've seen increases here of 24.9% in 2024. Those are the result of contractual agreements we have to provide EMS services to the unorganized territory, which we're obligated by state law to provide. In the past, it was my observation when I first came on, that the county was not paying its fair share of these services, and that we knew that the communities were the county really, in my estimation, was not paying its fair share of the cost. That has been since rectified by these contracts you have put in. So we've seen, I think it was a 200% increase in Millinocket, was it? If I remember, was it 200, something like that?
We had an increase 2 years ago and a decrease this year.
Yeah, so what we've seen is these percentages, I want people to be aware, these are percentages, these increases in these two departments specifically is the county's way of reaching out to the communities and paying our fair share and our way in a community effort to work with the towns, making sure that it is a fair and equitable relationship. And I want to commend you for, and I know I've mentioned it before, I'll do it again today. These contracts have to be negotiated, and you and Tina have done a wonderful job doing this. You've been able to get very good agreements that are satisfactory to both parts, and I thank you for that.
Thank you. So that's
Any further questions regarding the proposed UT budget? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion regarding the 2026 UT budget.
I move we approve the unorganized territory budget for the year 2026.
FY '27.
Right.
Second.
All right, thank you. Yep. So you operate on a different fiscal year than the county does, correct, George?
Right, yeah.
Okay. So we have had a motion and a second to accept the 27 UT budget as presented. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is unanimous.
Thank you, because now I have to turn that budget into the fiscal administrator at the UT office in Augusta, so
Yeah.
then we'll hear more.
We do want to again express our appreciation to Lisa and Justin for taking the time to come and explain things. We hope that is helpful to those who are watching to understand a little more of the complexity they face in providing a balanced process for the UT tax assessment.
Can I ask a couple of trivia questions while they're here?
Yeah.
How many counties have UT? 13, so just 3 don't have.
York,
What's the count?
Knox, and Cumberland?
York, Cumberland, and Androscoggin.
Who has the most, like Washington County,
Who has the
percentage-wise?
most? Somerset.
Somerset, percentage-wise or total? Acreage.
So Worcester County has the most tree growth, I
Yeah.
believe, and Somerset has the largest area.
Okay.
There's, as far as population.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
There's a signature page for you.
I want to thank you for this much-needed one-on-one tutorial to get me up to speed on this. I found it very informative and helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll ask Lisa and Justin to set to this next thing, because they're gonna have to come up with we're bidding out that property in Drew Plantation since they deorganized in July of '23. They've never paid taxes, so by bidding this out and letting somebody else buy this, now it's gonna be on the tax books, and it gets off our shoulders. So we're looking to open those bids.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So I would ask either probably Commissioner Marshall, since it is UT, if you would open those bids and read them for us.
Oh, this is for the Drew Plantation, George?
Yeah, this is for the town office,
Looks
fire
like,
station and.
wow,
We've
we've
got
got
pass them or something.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So we've got a week's worth here.
Should be 8.
We got no one.
Okay. Well, thank heavens, Joseph Hall's good. We don't want to forget.
I guess you can put it.
Okay, you want to start that? Let me do this. And the first one, you have your pen in hand, right, George?
I do.
The first one is from Walter J. Perda. Property sale, and the amount of the check is for, well, I guess that's just.
We've asked everybody to do a $100 check,
Yeah.
which will be refunded to them if they're not the.
Okay, yeah, okay. The check is included, and the amount bid is $5,559.
$5,559?
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
And the second bid is from Norbert and Julie Frund from Millinocket. They also have a check here, and their bid amount was $5,101. That's Norbert and Julie Frund, F-R-E-U-N-D. The next bid is from Peter Belesis, B-E-L-E-S-I-S, of Marblehead, Mass. He also has included his his check, unfortunately it's refundable, and his bid was for $2,500. $2,500, and that is Valerie and Peter, B-E-L-E-S-I-S, of Marblehead, Massachusetts. The next bid is from Kurt Spinney, or Spiney, S-P-I-N-N-E-Y, of Springfield, Maine. And their bid, which has the enclosed check, I believe.
Is it in the envelope?
No.
It's not a qualified bid.
Let me see, make sure this, did you double check, see that, Mr. Treasurer? You're good with money? You can find a check, anybody can. The next bid is from Ed Moore from Howland, Maine. Ed Moore from Howland, Maine. And Mr. Moore has provided a check qualifying him. And his bid was $5,000. $5,000 for Edwin Moore. Of Howland, Maine. The next bid is from Tyler Richardson, from Drew Township, oh wait, no, from Reed Plantation. Oh, Reed Plantation, hey. Next door. Hopefully there's a check in here. And there you go. He's got a qualifying check, and his bid, $6,510. $6,510. And that's from Tyler Richardson, up in Reed Plantation. That's my district. Just saying. The next bid is from, looks like John Kelly from Bath, Maine. And Mr. Kelly, Jonathan Kelly, yeah. Jonathan Kelly has a bid of $3,600. $3,600. And I think, is this the last of them?
Yeah. This will be the last one.
Should be one from Osgood, yeah.
Yeah, Joseph Osgood of Carroll, Maine. Oh, but you didn't get this one. Yeah.
Thank you, Mary Ann, for organizing all these bids.
You got your thing here? He had double security on that.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Yep. And come on down. No. You got the qualifier? His bid, Joseph Osgood Jr., bid $7,555.55.
How much?
$7,555.55.
So I guess my question, George, is, did you have a minimum in mind, or is there some associated factors that they have to take care of in regard to cleaning out the office if they were to take possession of it?
In the bid package that we sent out, they're required to pay all closing costs. And there was no minimum bid required. We did require the $100 check to try to get serious bidders only.
Would it be the director's request to take this under advisement, or are you prepared to make a recommendation?
We have no more to research. It's up to them to do all the research and get the paperwork, pay for the lawyers, pay for the title search, whatever they want to do.
So you're prepared to make a recommendation to the
That
commission?
we go with Joseph Osgood from Carroll, Maine.
I move we accept the bid of Joseph Osgood.
Second?
Have a motion and a second to accept the bid of $7,555.55 from Mr. Osgood. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is unanimous. Congratulations to Mr. Osgood. Thank you, George and Tina, for resolving this matter to the point we have.
The next thing is a solid waste bid for Lakeville. It's a pretty
Okay.
simple process. It covers 7 of our residents in Pupacon Township. So they have solid waste services. It's a 3-year contract. Year 1 is $860 and it goes up $100 a year.
We have a motion regarding the proposed solid waste agreement for Lakeville.
I move we accept the contract for the town of Lakeville,
Second?
So we have a motion and a second regarding this contract for 3 years. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is unanimous.
The next article or two that I've got to talk about is just for your information. There's no decisions to be made or votes to be taken, but I want to let you know that one of our very, very part-time animal control officers that work the area north of Millinocket, Jeff Dickey, has decided to stay on until we can find someone to replace him. So we're in the process of interviewing certified animal control agents north of Millinocket, and there are a few.
George, does this position obviously has to be based in any particular area because of?
No, it doesn't. Our animal control officer that we use, our regional control officer that lives down here in the Greenbush area and works this area, she handles some of our unorganized townships that far north when he can't.
Don't we have someone either out of Lincoln or Howland? Or do we not?
We do. We have someone out of Chester that does Madagasconis for us.
Yeah,
And we have someone in Lee that does Kingman Prentice.
all right,
But this guy, he worked less than 20 hours a year, so it's not a big,
okay, great.
I just want to give you information that,
You're gonna, I assume you're gonna be bringing, it'll have to be approved, the contract will have to be
yeah,
approved?
we'll bring back the employee before we hire somebody.
Okay,
so.
great, thank you, George.
Just for your information. The next thing for your information is another good reason. Lisa's sitting here. We found out Monday that the town of Maxfield has filled their, what is it? They signed.
Petition for first reading.
They've got the paperwork signed. Enough residents, registered residents signed it to have the public hearing to deorganize. And they hope to have the deorganizational meeting where Lisa and her people will attend and you and I will have to attend. And Richard Culpert's from the schools, Stacy Benjamin from LUPC, we all show up and we talk about what it would mean to deorganize.
Yeah.
And then it's up to them, we leave the room and they vote.
Yeah.
So they vote at town meeting?
What's the,
on ballot, it's on
it's
the
their town meeting.
where they go there.
We've done this before, we
We did it in Webster,
We did it at Webster, and they elected not to deorganize.
which, yes,
And that precludes them from the reconsideration for a certain number
for
of
3
years.
years.
What is the population of the town,
I don't know.
roughly?
It's not, I think it's 93, but don't hold me to that.
Understandable, okay, thank you, sir.
So just FYI, just so you know, there'll be a meeting and I'll let you know
Do
when
we have
that
any
is.
idea when that's gonna be, Lisa?
Sometime in the next 6 weeks, I would guess.
All right. Look forward to seeing you again. You gonna be
Good
there?
to see you
Drew?
again.
Yes. And the last thing on our agenda, we've kicked this tin can down the road a little ways. Tabled it a couple of meetings, where we're gonna buy that one-wheel gurney for, or to help buy that one-wheel gurney for Millinocket Fire. And I don't know, but I might stretch this a little more, with a little more explanation. not only did they have the one call where they took them several hours and a lot of manpower to get somebody out of the woods because you're trying to lug a gurney without letting it hit the ground, and there was no way to get a motorized vehicle in there. Millinocket covers the south half of the monument for us, the National Monument. And Patton covers the north half of the National Monument. And there are a lot of trails up there where you can't get motorized vehicles in. This isn't gonna be the first or last time that we're gonna have a problem lugging people out of the woods. And I understand that we've spent a lot of money in that area, we're paying a lot of money for these contracts, these ambulance contracts, if you will. And I understand where that's coming from, but payment in lieu of taxes money is what we're asking to spend on this. Because payment in lieu of taxes money comes from the monument and should be to support the monument. I don't wanna go through the TIF application process for $1,800 or $2,100. A caveat on this thing, if it makes it easier, and this is your choice, but I'd rather buy one for Millinocket and one for Patton and have us own them. Have Penobscot County own them. We've done that with the Jaws of Life with Mattawamkeag. It makes sense.
Will this be available, would this be available to Patton if they needed it?
It would be, but the distance from there to there might be a little too far to get there when you need it.
Well,
They're the only two services right now we're paying to help us with the monument.
Yeah,
And
Mr. Chairman, the only question, I'm fully in support of this, it's not a huge amount of money, it makes sense. And the only reason we put it off 2 meetings is the chairman had asked us to, if you could give us a reason why we wouldn't approve this today, I'd entertain that. Other than that, I'd like to
well,
move
before we even
forward.
do that, why don't we, the question before you is a parliamentary question, Mr. Chairman. This has been tabled. Is it proper to take this off the table requiring a
It was
motion?
tabled till today's meeting.
Right.
Does it need to be, it's been tabled this meeting. Is it now open for, is the floor now for?
It has been brought forward on today's agenda, so it would be appropriate for us to discuss and take action on this. I would be supportive personally, I don't want to speak for the commission, but I personally would be supportive of the UT director's recommendation regarding two of these utensils or vehicles to be acquired and owned by the county and placed with those two services.
And so it'd be a little more, because this amount wasn't for the full cost.
no, it wasn't. They were gonna contribute $300. It was $2,179.
So we need about $4,300 to buy 2 of these?
Right.
Okay.
Up to $5,000, I don't know.
That's assuming that Patton would be willing to.
I talked with the patent director, and if we get one from Millinocket, he was gonna ask for one himself, so
Yeah, at the
I think we're
same-
getting out ahead of the wave.
They're gonna have skin in the game, 300 skin in the game, just like Millinocket.
No, not if we buy them and own them.
Oh, if we buy them, yeah,
Now,
well.
if we own them, we'd have a signed agreement with
Yeah.
them that they maintain them and they use them and
Okay,
they
that-
store them. And then if anything happens to our contracts in the future, we've got something.
Yeah, I would move we use PILT funds to purchase 2 of these, what are they called?
Wheel litters.
Wheel two, little wheel.
Okay, that's exactly right.
I would second the motion.
And we have a motion and a second to acquire 2 of these using PILT funds owned by the county for placement with the 2 services if the agreement is in place to maintain these. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye is unanimous.
Yep.
Thank you for that work, George. I think it's a reasonable solution that helps to improve our relations with those departments and the service they can provide.
George, let me ask a question outside. I'm assuming these are gonna be positioned in the fire department, in Millinocket.
More than likely on the
Fire
ambulance
department.
themselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would assume that would be the case.
They fold up small enough to fit into a compartment.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Unless you want to visit a little while longer.
No, I think they're probably ready to go have lunch.
Thank you.
See you in a couple, 3 weeks. Thank you.
That sounds good.
Appreciate it.
Thanks again.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you, Tina.
Chair, can I make a recommendation?
Certainly.
May I make a recommendation? There's an item on the agenda, item G, it's the HR update and an item about the consultant. I just became aware that I believe Director Lavoy is going to present that. He's been sitting here patiently. He's obviously the director of a very important department. I want the commission to know that I've not seen any information with regards to this, so my recommendation at this point would be for the director to present the commission with the information and to table any discussion or decision until next meeting.
Skip the line of presentation.
If there's no objection, we will take item G out of order on the agenda. Hearing none, I would invite the director from CRCC, Mr. Lavoy, to come forward to present the details.
Just temporarily. How are we doing, commissioners?
Very well, thank you, Director.
All right. Again, I am presenting something for HR, so I'm not sure if you're aware or not, but basically what Director Dyer is looking to do, where Jen Snow has resigned and we're in the process of hiring someone to fill her position, is she wants to bring Jen on part-time, basically through like a consulting contract similar to, I believe, what we did for the previous HR director. She would work not more than 20 hours a week at her current pay scale, and it would not extend past December 31st. So it would only be until the end of the year to get us through open enrollment, the implementation of the HRIS system, year-end reporting, and compliance tasks.
Would these be on campus, 20 hours on campus?
I believe it would be on campus, yes, but I believe.
I don't have a question, well, I might have some questions on this. My first question is, I'm just confused, why is it you're presenting HR stuff? I'm missing.
Director Dyer couldn't be here today, and
Okay.
it was on the agenda, and she had asked me to fill it.
Okay.
But we will take this under advisement, is that?
Yeah, I would recommend, I mean, again, I apologize as administrator, I feel this is quite unprofessional. But that aside, the commission has no presentation, there aren't any facts, there's no information to present. And I just think it should be presented in a more formal setting so that you can all take a look at the true numbers and have oversight of this project.
I move we take this under advisement.
Yep.
Second?
All right, we have a motion and a second to take this under advisement, awaiting further details. Any further discussion? I would ask all those to signify by saying aye if they're in favor.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, it passes. One question, is there general acceptance of the concept that we could convey to the HR director so she understands, as does this individual, that we just need more details before we can give it the final approval?
Yes, yes on my part, how about you, Commissioner?
I don't have enough info for you to say either way.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Lavoy. Thank you for subbing in at the last minute. We will take this up on next week's agenda.
Thank you. Yeah. And when is the next meeting, Scott?
So, at this point, we will revert to the regular scheduled items and ask our grant manager, Wendy Dana, to come forward for an opioid update.
See the 19th.
I believe that's the next scheduled one, yeah. That doesn't.
Okay, the next one, Commissioner, MCC.
Oh, yeah.
Wendy, I'm sorry, I'm on my screen here. Can you tell me who has joined you?
Yes, Jamie Beck, and she's the chair of the opioid committee. And she's here for the update, as well as myself.
Okay.
Do you have questions for me to start, or do you want me to just talk to you about the documents I sent over?
This is wonderful. This is the,
I think at this point to brief us on the documents you have provided so we can share that information publicly, and then we can proceed with any questions we might have.
Okay, sounds good. So what we have is a document with a few articles here that we went through discussing about how the opioid committee should work and any policies that we should be considering. So we did take out a section, which you won't even see it because we took it out before we sent it to you. But it has to do with the term of office. And we feel like since those that are on here are volunteers, then we shouldn't boot our volunteers. So we don't have a term for that.
A term of tenure or a terminology?
No, a term of tenure. So we had it at 2 years. And then, but there are definitely circumstances where we know that people will leave or desire to come back in. Like I'm thinking that there's probably gonna be times where some that are on there, they just get too busy to be on it. So that's where we were considering about if there should be a term. And go ahead, Jamie.
So this document was born out of the idea that in order for us to do our best work for you as the advisory committee, that having a set of a policy around what our parameters are, laying out clearly what our role is and how we are directed by you, what our job is, and also looking at guidance from the Moss Center, as well as looking at the Maine Recovery Council's policy around how they operate. How can we apply that to our committee so that we're really clear about what our job is? And you're going to hear that repeatedly from me today, of making sure that we have really good clarity around how we're tasked with fulfilling these roles. So a lot of this is just kind of readjusted from what the Maine Recovery Council has is their policy regarding members. It lays out our non-discrimination policy, what our purpose and powers are that you have bestowed on us, as well as how we intend on being transparent and providing the public with information. Getting into the council members, it talks about having the number of people on the committee, seeking maybe one more person to join the committee so that we do have an odd number in case we do need to vote and have a tie-breaking vote around something at some point. Just as you have 3 members of the commission and other elected bodies also have an odd number. It follows good practice. And laying out who the recommendation would be for member roles to be on the committee. It's been really helpful to have Grant Manager Dana on the committee because she does have a really good understanding of the procurement and grant process. And I think that that's kind of an essential role to continue having, as well as ensuring that we have at least one more person with lived experience on this committee. Looking at just basic makeup, the chair and secretary of the committee, that's all pretty standard. And then making sure that we lay out as well, if anybody does resign, that we would be looking to the commissioners to fulfill that role, the person who resigned, by appointing someone new to that role. And it also does lay out our conflict of interest policy more clearly. So that's for your approval as written, or any corrections that you'd like to send to us, just so that we're really clear.
I have a few comments reading over this. One, on the membership, it says 7 members, but when you add up the 3 commissioners and the other, it would be 8 people you get.
Well, you're not on the committee per se, you're the.
No, the 3 commissioners appoint 1 person each, and then you've got 1 county rep, 1 law enforcement, person with procurement, and 2 with opiate.
That's
So we would
that's
have to
constituency
change
of the
that.
committee to date.
Right, so that's why she suggested the one more of lived experience.
Well, my
And I
comment
get
is,
where
3
you're at.
people with lived
it
experience.
doesn't matter to me.
Well,
It wouldn't matter if
we
it's
do.
even or odd, because we are gonna be the vote breaker. The commissioner will take your recommendation. We can
True, yeah.
easily discern if it's 3 to 3. We are able to take that information, digest it, and between the 3 of us, we could break that. I don't think adding an extra person, I want to keep this as simple and as concise, the process, and you've done a great job on the process. I like everything you've done to date. I see no compelling reason to add another person just to put a tie of an advisory committee that's going to forge a recommendation to us, we would be the tie-breaking entity.
Yeah, if I could offer onto that, I would agree with that assessment. I mean, if you have something that comes in at the tie, no matter what your number is, then I think you think it should fail.
Tie break fail.
Oh, I kind of thought that it should come before
Well,
you.
you can still bring forward,
Right,
but generally tie vote.
right, generally tie vote fails, but in your situation, I think there's enough interest there that it ought to be considered by the commission, who's ultimately gonna make the decision, right?
Just for
And-
background, nothing has come to that. We've
Right.
unanimously
Right.
agreed on
Right.
everything as the conversation
Right.
goes. I would recommend, though, if any of us just step back from our position as the appointees from each of the commissioners, that you strongly consider putting a second person with lived experience on the committee. So replacing one of us as,
Or would replace it with the quality of the candidate.
sure.
That they would.
I think we're really thinking, though, that.
I think I can trust my two commissioners to do that. We'd be in consensus.
Just a couple other thoughts I have. The first thing on purposes and, on general purposes and powers, it talks about disbursement of recovery funds for recovery purpose of the county. I think we just need to be clear that this committee is advising us on the funds that we've allocated for the committee to fund, not all the funds, because we're already decided to allocate some monies to the jail for MAP purposes and other things. So I think it just needs to be clear in that preamble that these are the funds, these aren't all the county funds.
That's the
These are just what,
800,000 we set aside.
right, these are just what we're asking, the funds that we ask the committee to review, not all the
I'm
funds.
sorry, 800,000?
Was it 800,000 that we?
For this committee, I think it's 400,000.
Oh, 400,000.
Okay, I was
Yeah.
like, whoo. we
And
got it.
the only other thing is, I think,
Surprised.
Yeah.
the less,
I
I
like
think
that
the
suggestion.
simpler you keep it, the better. Like setting the agenda, I would say, instead of having the committee chair do that, I think the grant manager, it makes more sense to do it, still with input from the members. And then on the minutes of the meeting, I don't think you need a secretary. It seems like the grant manager should keep the minutes and the paperwork, keep it within, so it's at the county level, not, a volunteer person doing it. Those are my only comments.
I'm sure we'll work it out.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah, that's,
You know?
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's been working just fine.
Commissioner Marshall.
Yeah, I have a question. These people are serving nobly on this without compensation. However, I don't know the distances they're traveling or anything involved. So I would think at a minimum that mileage, to compensate them for at least the travel time to and from, and I don't know the circumstance. Did the committee look into the possibility of mileage for their membership?
I really don't think, and I'm gonna put it to you, that our meetings, generally, the only ones that show up is Jamie and I, and then Sheriff Morton will come down if he has time. Zoom just seems to be the way to go on this. It's kind of one of those things like, this could have been an email, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, this could have been a Zoom.
Yeah.
So I think that it's just, and I've noticed that since we've done that, people are able to make it. Whereas in, if you're, even if it's where some are actually attending, it's just more difficult. So I think just having the Zoom meetings and then we upload them, and IT has been helping us to do that onto our website, that seems to
So
work out well.
that's, your recommendation is it's not necessary?
Yeah,
I would
just to
take
do
that
Zoom.
recommendation to heart, thank you.
You are.
I thought I'd offered out. I don't want people who donate their time and effort to this cause to encumber any undue costs themselves. I know they're not being compensated. Time is everything and volunteerism is everything. But mileage, like me, I travel 144 miles round trip to get here.
Crazy, yeah.
And 2.5 hours before I even get to my meeting. I do that every time I come down here. So, I thought others, I don't know where they are. I thought that might be a consideration, but if your recommendation is we need not visit that issue, then that's fine with me.
Yeah, and people can work from their office as well, you know what I mean? Like some who have a job, like others have a job, they can do it from their office. They don't have to leave work, so that works well too.
Thank you.
And then, I see you suggesting one quick thing that we want to ask, or want to tell you. We just have so far 2 applications, but we are expecting probably next week, we're going to get inundated, with the applications. So far, so good. It's been a really good experience. I've been able to help some that had questions, but everybody is very comfortable with how this all works. You know, they know they've put in grants for other requests. So it has just been pretty smooth, I think.
What's the
Yeah, but I'm-
deadline?
November 15th.
Yeah, Penobscot County Cares is holding I believe they're having a seminar or webinar this afternoon
This
about this
Thursday.
and how they can, and to get that, help get that word out. That's always welcomed, I appreciate that from the organization. And if we can get the word out, get those applications in, I think that the word will spread quickly. I know I've already
Yes.
notified all of those organizations in my district that would qualify, are already knocking at the door.
Yes.
So, but I'm sure there are many others out there I'm not aware of in your district and the chairman's district that this might be helpful. So getting the word out of what's out there and the process and making application is a good thing, and I thank you for your efforts to date on that.
Yeah.
So at this point, I am sensing that we need some more time before we would approve the recommendations. So I would ask that we take this under advisement and give us time to review it. I don't know if with the transitions next week would be appropriate, or if we think it would be best to wait till after the budget is completed. I don't want to impede their work, but tell me, gentlemen, what your feelings are.
I don't have any. We should be able to decide by next week.
Yeah, next week's fine.
Yeah, we should be able to make this decision at the next meeting.
Next meeting.
We'll have had time to review it and come to a
Yeah.
conclusion.
Yeah, and if you have any suggestions or edits or anything, send it to
And
Wendy.
if I have any questions, I'm going to call you directly.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I may, I've got just a couple more questions, just again, to looking towards clarity around this current space that we're in and then future spaces. So I prepared a little thing and I did print off these questions for you all, just so that you have them in writing as well. I just wanted to reiterate that our committee is very grateful for the initial allocation of the $400,000 for the RFP. And we've worked really hard to design and release that application to meet the needs of the community. As stewards of the unprecedented funds, they represent a unique multi-year opportunity to reverse the devastation of the opioid crisis. Our committee is requesting a little bit clearer understanding around the commissioner's long-term strategy for the total projected settlement amount of the $4.5 million. Our goal is to ensure that our recommendations are aligned with the commissioner's overarching opioid vision, our vision for opioid remediation in Penobscot County. We're not looking for immediate answers today, but rather posing specific questions for you to consider, and then come back and we can come back for you to provide us the guidance to help best advise you and assist you with caretaking the money, specifically intended for remediation of the crisis. So the first question would be, Penobscot County has received a total of $1.45 million in payments since September of 2022, after the initial allocation for the jail's MAT program and the $400,000 that we're putting out, or we have put out for the RFP. Can the commission provide an outlined plan of activities and funding amounts for the next phase of remediation initiatives? The next question is, just to give a little context, we recognize that this critical state-mandated requirement for county jails to provide MAT, and that there's a lack of corresponding fiscal note, and the funding challenges posed by federal Medicaid rules for incarcerated individuals is real. We also acknowledge that the MAT for justice-involved persons is an allowable use under the National Settlement Guidelines. So the question is, given the annual nature of the jail's operational MAT budget, can the commission clarify its long-term strategy to ensure that the utilization of opioid settlement funds to cover this recurring annual expense beyond 2020 or 2036, when the last payments come in, won't preclude or diminish the county's ability to fund essential new external community-wide prevention, recovery, harm reduction, and treatment programs as intended by the settlement's core remediation mandate.
If I may, if you have a list of those questions, I think these are fairly complex for us to try and consider today, and to give you the
I
respect.
just wanted to verbalize them while we're here together, just so we can kind of start thinking, and then these are for you guys.
Out of respect to the time that we have to deal with the budget at this point, I would respectfully ask that you supply that list to the commission. We'll review it, and then we can get you our written responses to that. I don't want to belittle what you have or diminish the importance of this discussion, but we are dealing with a short time frame to deal with our administrator here with his departure, and we do have a pretty significant budget issue. While these are important, it is not as timely as the budget is for us at this point. So I hope you can understand our need to kind of focus on the monies that we're going to have to assess to the property taxpayers in the next 60 days here.
100%.
I would make one point. You made a question as to what the commission might intend for the allocation out to the year 2036. And I would point out that legislatures and congresses and commissioners cannot encumber future legislators, federal, state legislators or commissioners from doing that duty. So and from my perspective, trying to project out how we do this and expecting any those to be followed is
These are the type of complexities that I think we need to debate and after we've had a chance to digest them. So with respect to the schedule that we have and some of the other issues, I would ask that we hold any questions or comments until after we've had a chance to look this over.
Sure. Fine by me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And where are you?
Appreciate your work and your time on this. I know it is near and dear to many hearts, and we do.
He's checked in with his crew, I'm sure he did.
Thank you so much, Chair.
Well, it looks beautiful there, Andre.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
At this point, I believe we have the facilities director with us.
Yeah, Brian's here. Come on down, Brian.
Good morning, still.
Hey, good man. You're a good man, Brian. I'm mixing Dr. Pepper with Dr. Pepper. You know I'm a teetotaler.
Oh, yeah,
So, on the agenda, it starts off with the second floor clerical space. We have it gutted. We were just up there this morning. We're gonna take the drywall off, at least one or two walls. But the carpet is all out, the old commissioner's bench is out. We've coordinated with an electrician and our HVAC contractor to come in and start doing some things for us. And as far as the work to get it finished, I still haven't got anybody that's been willing to do the bit of work that we would prefer not to do ourselves, but I'm continuing to look.
Do you think benchmark might be an option when they get here, possibly to?
A couple of different things, yes.
Yeah.
We need to order a door and a window. They have someone on the Franklin Street project that I've never worked with before, and they really like them, so I've already asked them if it'd be all right if we showed them.
Yeah, I think it'd be a
so
good opportunity, yeah.
Correct, that is, they did look at it, but they didn't bid.
Right.
So,
they might have a couple guys here one day where they're not too busy and they could, you know, for a little bit extra cash and.
yeah, and that's kind of what we're hoping.
Yeah, good.
We're meeting with them tomorrow again at Franklin Street.
Okay, good thinking, yeah.
But it's coming along, and we would I was just up there with my guys and half the DA's office came in to check it out. We did open up one area of the wall and found some really old wiring that is a concern. There are cut wires in this box and.
Assuming it's copper, we can make some money.
Why'd you open the wall? You knew it. Oh, geez.
Well, I mean, it's.
I know,
So
you had
it's
to,
it's
but-
that walnut wall and there was just this piece of wood
Oh, yeah.
over a hole. So we
Yeah.
let's, what's here? And
Oh, no.
take
Oh,
that down, there's a metal plate. We opened that up and and it's pretty powerful wiring as well. It's big gauge, so,
Not active?
we're not touching it. We
Yeah.
put the panel back on and we'll have the electrician scope it out. A year or so ago, we had an issue in the hallway outside of that space where the custodian closet is. There was a hot water heater installed in there. We replaced it. The custodian reached down to get something, put her hand on the hot water heater and touched something else and got a bit of a shock. The electrician looked at it. The wiring was extremely dangerous. So it goes back to what I've discussed before.
Yeah.
That panel that's out in the hallway is the first one we're going to address.
Yeah, right.
We're probably going to,
Pretty important.
at the very least, we're gonna make that compliant with the current code.
Grounded at least.
Well, that's the problem. The grounding was to the conduit pipe that the wire's running through, and that's not a great setup.
Does that work?
Well, it might have been okay when it was put in years
I
ago.
think that's
but-
code today.
Yeah, probably not. So that's where we're gonna start, and then what we exposed this morning is going to be added to that list.
Good,
So
thank you.
every little thing we do, we expose more questions. So we'll get it done, and I still think we'll be significantly less than any of the pricing bids, so, yeah. Any questions on that space, or?
Just one thought is that, I recall, I think I was on vacation when the listing of equipment from the DA's office came through, and it was rather substantial. And I think there were two lists, one for inside of the new space and one to replace some equipment in the old space. I think that ought to have another look-see, and I would recommend going out to RFP on that.
Well, so, I would agree. Originally, we scoped out L-shaped desks for that area. The people that will be working in there felt that they wouldn't have enough desk space. I believe an L-shaped desk would provide them 2 to 3 times the desk space they currently have. And they would be cheaper, but they asked to go to U-shaped
Oh,
desks.
okay.
So
What's the
those
status
are-
of that? Are they going to that, or is that still in question?
I'm sorry?
What's the status of that recommendation?
It's still, so I'll explain that as
You take me up and show me.
the price that we received for the 2 locations were for U-shaped desks. After the last meeting, when I presented that, I went back to the ladies and asked them to reconsider going back to get a price for the L-shape. The second space, I said, that's not gonna happen right now. That was around 20,000. That will have to wait for another time. They did not readily accept my advice to go back to the L shape. They said they were gonna come and try to convince people otherwise. I think we do that first. If that price is, it should be significantly lower. The U-shaped desks are expensive. L-shaped are, I won't say half, but probably a good chunk lower.
Yep.
That might be more acceptable, and then if that doesn't do it, then definitely we'd go out for an RFP, or at least contact multiple different vendors to compare and contrast. But assuming that will be figured out one way or the other, we're still continuing to do what we do when we have time.
You're gonna have available time after this meeting. I'd like you to take me up and go over that. I'd like to look for myself.
Yeah, sure. Anything else about the DA space or the future DA space?
What's the timeline now, George, by the end of the year, anything?
Well, the ladies in the DA's office seem to remember me telling them they'd be in there by December. That won't happen. I think we would be, by the end of the year, we should have a good majority of it done, depending on whether Benchmark is available or anyone local finally decides to help out. And not quite sure of the timeline for some of the supplies. I have yet to order the carpet, and the furniture will have a lead time as well. So the room may be done, but we might be waiting on
Do
something.
you anticipate them moving in piecemeal or in stages, or do you want the whole room done before they begin their occupation?
I would like to have the whole room complete because it would be,
To work
it
around?
would be difficult to work around
Yeah.
half of the room occupied and we're trying to
I've
finish
seen
the
both
other.
happen. I mean,
Yeah, I think it would be more delays if we did it
all right.
piecemeal. Moving on to Franklin Street, we're still, they were supposed to be in there yesterday to start demo, but we're struggling with the city with permits, the parking permits. I've asked the city to let the county be the holder of the permits, but they want each contractor to have their own permit. And we have to pay for them in advance. It's $9 a day or $104 a month. I was hoping that the county could hold the permits and then we pay them the total at the end of the project. But I know when we did the asbestos abatement and the demo in there, the code people that were there at the time,
These state code people or federal?
these work for the city.
Oh, city. Okay.
But the code office allowed, the code office allowed some room for negotiation. Those people have since been, it's a pretty all-new staff, I think, in the office now, so.
Yeah, there's no code officer right now.
Yeah, what's the status of, does the Northern Workforce Development Board, that's not included in that space you're talking demoing, isn't it? Or is it? That's adjacent.
No, they are in the space that
Only going to encourage you.
they,
Sorry, Brian.
that's all right, they're in, just outside of that demo
Okay.
area.
That's
The
not,
sheriff's office is gonna take their space. And part of the whole plan was to move IT into the basement of this building. And the workforce development would move into the current IT
IT.
space. The problem with that is it's ADA compliant from the street, but not to get up to the
does
bathrooms.
that have that ramp up there? I thought that had, is it still up a stair or is it a ramp?
From the current IT space to the stairs.
Oh,
So the only bathrooms available would be now in the sheriff's office area. That's probably have to be something worked out. There is a lift in that 26 Franklin, but someone would have to, if the workforce development were working and someone in ADA needed a bathroom, they would have to go outside onto the sidewalk, into 26, and go up the lift. I'm not quite sure that is.
It's not a problem except winter time.
Well, I don't think it's allowed, actually, ADA compliant wise, so. But anyway, we're meeting with them, with Benchcraft again tomorrow. I've made a couple of miscalculations with drawings and things. I've sent the ductwork people 2 sets of drawings that weren't the most updated, so we finally get that straightened out. I do have a price that's in front of you from Carmel Electric to install the fire alarm system into that renovated space, and that price is $20,950. I think that, I won't go so far as to say they're doing us a favor, but I think that's a lot cheaper than we would get from others.
What's a horn strobe?
It's basically the alarm that goes off when the fire alarm goes
The
off.
audio?
Yeah, well, they make speaker strobes and horn strobes.
Are they connected to the smoke detectors, or are they?
Yes. So the smoke detectors are connected to the fire alarm panel, which when that enunciates, that is connected to the strobe.
Is there anything else?
This is it, that would be the last price.
Okay.
Okay.
You know, I agree, Carmel Electric has done the county. The only thing I could recommend at this point, where you have some time, is to get a couple other quotes, if somebody was willing to do it.
Yeah, I can add, I know,
Yeah, it might be worth it before
I know a couple of-
finalizing a decision,
a
but,
couple of them local won't because of their relationship with Carmel.
okay,
So,
yeah, I mean, I would not intentionally hurt Carmel's feelings, but just,
no,
Again,
I
if
think
this-
they've been good to us.
and this is a matter of,
But
you
do
gotta,
your due diligence for county.
yeah, but if you have to give them an answer, like, and let the commission know in the future, if you have to give them an answer like yesterday, then I would
Yeah.
be inclined to
I
go
was
with
gonna
it.
ask, what's the time?
I don't,
Yes.
so Carmel will need, not need, but it would be easier for them if the walls were up, the new walls were up but not covered,
Okay,
for them,
right,
so there is, and
so there's some time,
they've been involved with our meetings with Benchmark, and Benchmark has been great because that Carmel's not their electrician, so they are, we've been pretty well coordinated on that, and they have agreed they will be there in a window of time that doesn't interfere or delay the construction.
so can I ask this, does Benchmark have an electrician, and could they give you a bid to see if that was?
They could, but, and they haven't identified that contractor to us yet, and I've asked a couple of times, so I don't know what's up with that.
Okay.
But, I would suspect that similar to a change order, it would have a significant margin added to it.
Well, I'm sure there's an additional cost, but there's also the thought process of where they're doing the project, you don't have to worry about lining up Carmel, you know, and being the subcontractor, the general contractor here, that would be one advantage to it.
Yeah.
I mean, if they come back with 30,000, then, okay, Carmel will do it.
Yeah.
But you'll have to line up Carmel, because if you don't get Carmel, you know how it goes.
Yeah.
If you delay Benchmark through Carmel, there's gonna be potential costs there as well,
Correct,
so.
yeah.
All right,
Brian, under the exclusions aspect of this proposal, you reviewed those, I mean, as you look at them now, are those all standard?
Correct.
They look standard, but I didn't know.
And many of them are really not.
This boilerplate,
I think it's pretty much boilerplate. There's no, they're not cutting, patching, or painting any walls. There's no concrete work for them to do. They're not dealing with the HVAC controls at all.
those are the things I was looking at,
Yeah.
and I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was just covering their backside.
That's there, yeah. And they're covering anything that possibly could go wrong if they're not responsible for.
Yeah, the only thing they don't have listed is act of God, but it's pretty close.
Anyway.
Any questions on that? Okay.
That's good, thank you. Do you have a time frame for yourself? What would your preferred time rate or timeline be for us to address this issue? Once you hear from them, what are we looking at?
For the fire system?
Yeah,
Well, the whole project, if they had started Monday like they had hoped, their plan, Benchmark's plan would be, we would be finished by the second week in January. So, we're now heading toward the end of January, but I would think by somewhere between Thanksgiving and the second or third week in December, that we would need, the electrician, whoever it is, would need to be doing this wiring.
So the second floor on the Franklin Street, gonna be just slightly completed, different timeframes you anticipate?
The second floor of Franklin Street?
No, the second floor here, the two separate projects. I'm looking at completion date, we're behind in each.
Yeah, upstairs is hard to tell because I don't know the
I know
timeline.
they want to be in by December, you said? Okay.
They seem to remember me saying that they would be in there by December. I don't remember saying that, but that's not gonna happen. I would say, again, depending on the lead time of supplies that we're gonna order ourselves, the first of the year, probably a similar time frame with this.
That's what I'm thinking,
Franklin
we got
Street.
two projects, gonna be probably finishing up after the new year sometime, within the first 2 or 3 weeks. Okay, I'm just trying to get this in my head of where we're gonna be come
Yeah.
January. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chair?
Okay. Brian, anything else that you would like to present or comment on?
Couple of things. It mentions a project spreadsheet for your review that I've cooperated with finance. I have created a really basic spreadsheet that has no info on it yet. But I'm going to revise that to make it more functional. I can bring that to you at another meeting, but I don't have it today.
Yeah, I just think you continue to, before we bring it to the commissioners, I think you should review it with Brenda.
Right, and
And go, yeah.
we've talked about it, and she kind of chuckled when I sent it to her, how basic it was, but.
Was it literally an empty spreadsheet? You didn't do that to her, did you?
No, it
Oh,
had
okay.
some stuff on it.
I'm also.
But I want to be able to, I want a page for each project and then link them back to a cover page, and I just haven't done that yet.
Okay.
Do you feel that you could get us something by Thanksgiving?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And by then, I should probably have some invoices, to some numbers to put in there as well, so.
Yeah, I think if we could get it, it would be extremely helpful to have at least an outline by the time we do the budget meeting on the 18th. But if we could have a more substantive report on that third meeting in November when we're coming together just before Thanksgiving, that would be very helpful.
I can. And one last thing I have is a price from Office Pride for the cleaning in the jail. I forwarded that on to HR, and she was gonna run some numbers to see how their monthly price looked versus our employee monthly price, with benefits and everything.
I'm sorry, can you just back up? We talked about changing the way we're doing the jail.
I don't remember it.
What's this about?
Clean
Oh, you want me to take over? Sure.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
thought you were all aware of that, yeah, I'm sorry.
First time hearing about it.
So we're having staffing issues, consistent staffing issues. I'm trying to be careful here because it involves an employee and some sensitive information, but basically staffing issues. So in the maintenance department under Brian, there is one individual, one position that is assigned to the jail. I don't believe at this time there are any other individuals in maintenance looking or interested in going into the jail. Not everybody wants to go in there. So due to the consistent absences and us sort of blue tapping and duct taping the whole problem, we reached out for, I believe you saw, this vendor was at the convention maybe? Or, it's not that important, but yeah, somebody was,
Their contact information was given to me, several people from here met with them at the convention.
okay. So they went in, they looked, and they provided us with a price. We're looking at first, we're just looking at short-term temporarily. We have cleanliness issues, hygiene issues, there are a lot of negative things that could happen if we don't pay enough attention to that, to cleaning that facility. And without the individual going in there, it's very limited. So I have looked at the proposal. I would recommend doing this on a short-term basis to give it a try. I feel that the county needs to look at a more long-term solution. Again, I think that involves maybe some other discussions later on in executive session, as things develop. This is, just to be sure, this is $6,000, $6,062 a month, right?
Per month, yeah.
Per month, okay.
Farmed out instead of in-house.
Correct.
Right. So it also will allow time that depending, the long-term solution will depend on, I believe, the union's reaction to it. There'll need to be some conversations there. However, for the immediate, I think at least through November, if not through the end of the year. I'll leave that to Brian to solidify that recommendation, but that's where, as still as the administrator, that's how I'm looking at it today, and I think the sheriff would concur that at least through November, if not through December as well, and in between, look for a longer-term solution.
Are those positions, the custodial position in your department, they are union related?
Yes.
So there are two different groups. There's a group that does this building and everything,
Okay.
all the buildings except for the jail. They are
And the jail.
covered by a collective bargaining agreement.
Is the absence of is the current absence due to any medical consideration or medical in?
I would be careful in answering
All right.
that.
Yeah.
I wish
I
my
would
ear
discuss
out.
it.
I would defer to Scott.
Yeah, I would, Mr. Chairman, I would like to have this discussed more executive session. I think even before we got to this point today, we should have a discussion if we wanted to go in this, even talk about going in this direction. So I'm not ready to make a decision today. I think we need a discussion in executive session.
Understood. So at this point, I think we will put this discussion on hold and put it on next week's agenda for an executive session. We probably.
Well, I've got a couple of questions on the packet. You also had some mechanical service stuff. I don't know if we need to talk about that. But you had storage boxes too. Where do we stand with the storage down back there?
I haven't
That's
moved.
stapled in this.
I'm sorry?
You had some quotes as part of this packet you gave us, storage.
I didn't give a packet, I don't know what you
It's got the
have.
office price bid, and it's got the mechanical
Oh, did you
service.
throw that in?
It's got
Is this
main
the stuff that they
trailer.
gave us today? I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, well, that's all right, but where do we stand on the storage?
Is that what you
Yeah, on the back of that, there's some stuff on storage.
Yeah, this is what.
I know, I did,
Dennis just gave us, I didn't see the review this earlier.
so.
All right, I'll take this one, okay?
So a while back, when we decided that a building back there wouldn't really be feasible, we discussed getting another trailer. I got this information you see here, and honestly, it kind of fell through the cracks up until a week or so ago. Main trailer is the lowest price, but being shorthanded and being very busy the last several weeks, I haven't moved forward with it yet.
Were we trying to get it done before snow season, does it matter? Or what?
Well, I'm not sure of that either. I mean, I would like to, if we get, I know there was some question about the fencing as well. So there are so many open ends, I just didn't know that we were ready to do
I thought we
that.
settled on that the fencing would just be tying those two ends together.
Yeah, and if anything, we're gonna wait on the fencing this year.
Right.
Get the other storage unit down there, whether or not we could get the trusses between the two, if that's still an option. But the fencing was on hold until the
Right.
plowing season was a recommendation.
Right.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, main trailer is the lowest, and I think maybe a week ago, I got, Scott and I communicated about it, and he told me to move forward with main trailer. I just haven't contacted them yet.
You changed the lowest
Do we need
including.
to authorize expenditures on this, Scott, or are we?
I believe it's already been authorized.
That's so.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
the
the
whole-
trailer, we've already authorized it.
yeah, the whole plan was authorized, it was just, yep.
Just
But if you
selecting.
wish to take a vote on this, that's up to the commission
Let's
to.
talk a little bit more. The man trailer, you got 30, 50 plus 150 delivery. Will Scott, you got that's where the difference is right there.
Yeah,
And main containment depot, I'm assuming that's what that stands for,
Yes,
is
Very nice.
35.5. So you're talking, the lowest is, say, $400 savings. The highest would be over $1,000 more expensive. So is it, obviously, in something like this, if it's your recommendation, I would assume we'd go with the lowest thing. I'm prepared to do that now, if that'll help you
Yeah,
in
if we need to.
moving forward.
like it's been discussed, I think it's already been approved,
Yeah, it's been
I just
approved.
haven't been able to contact them yet.
But do we need to select which of these three we would go with, or are these figures set in stone? These costs?
They were as of September 3rd. I haven't had time to reach out to them
Why
again.
don't you confirm the current cost and we'll go from there, but we should do this sooner than later. We don't keep the need to keep kicking stuff down the road.
so I think where this has already been authorized, unless the commission thinks differently, Brian will confirm, the director will confirm the prices, and then, and if, unless something is significantly changed, he can bring it to me.
Yeah,
Make it happen.
once it brings it to you, you should make the decision on behalf of the commission, because we've already given you authorization to do so.
Yep, yeah,
That's your role.
Yep.
Boss,
Yep, I'm
you're the
good with
boss.
for a little bit,
Okay,
finally.
all right. Is there anything further on facilities that we need to address today?
Oh, good. Brian,
Not that I'm aware of.
thank you,
No.
Brian, for this.
All right, we'll let you,
And I'll see you after this. You're gonna be around. I'll track you down. I know where you
thank you,
live.
Brian.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, I believe we're at the point where we are looking for an administrative update. Mr. Atkins.
The first item I have is the deputy treasurer designee. Should have been under the treasurer, I guess, now that I read it out loud, but, is there any reason why, finance director, Palmer shouldn't be the deputy treasurer?
No.
Okay,
Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to do so.
So moved.
So moved. Second, I'm
So I
sorry.
have a motion to appoint the finance director as our deputy treasurer designee. I assume that she's in the room, she's aware of it and will accept.
She's smiling or grimacing. I can't
do you have an
tell.
acceptance speech prepared? Or-
She just ran out.
Yeah,
Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
It is unanimous.
my condolences,
Congratulations.
congratulations.
As you go to the guillotine.
It's that company you keep, that,
Next item is update on our meetings. Next week, the 12th, there is a bit of a conflict for two of the commissioners because of the MCCA meeting, which takes place from 9 to noon timeframe. I'm wondering, Commissioner Tremble and Marshall, what you might have for availabilities on the 12th for an alternate meeting time.
Not the 12th. That's the one that's our
Right.
regularly scheduled, but that's the one you can't make and don't you have a conference on the 12th?
I thought the 19th.
I can meet, if you guys want to meet later, I can do that, whatever works, yeah.
First and third.
So if we were to schedule our meeting for the 12th of November after lunch, is that what I'm hearing, or do you want to do it at any time?
No, it really doesn't matter to me. An alternative would have been to have it on, skip a week, because Dan indicated unless we had to
Unless
get
there's much
together.
we need to, I'm okay if we skip a week.
There,
We could go
so
to the 18th.
there's not a lot in the queue at this point.
Well, then, how about this? We've got a budget meeting on Tuesday, the 18th at 5 o'clock. If we convened a commissioners meeting on that date, say at 2 o'clock, that would give us enough time to handle the county's business, give you an hour break, and then reconvening for the budget meeting at that point.
That would certainly work for me in lieu of the meeting on the, are you saying we would meet on the 18th as opposed to meeting on
The 12th.
12th and the
Correct.
19th?
Yeah, there's no need to be, as the administrator indicated,
Yep.
there's not a lot on the plate. You're out, Dan has obligations, so we could, since we're already meeting on the 18th for the budget, we just switch it over 6 days later and have the meeting there.
Okay, but I'm also clarifying if we're doing weekly meetings, we would be scheduled for the 19th as well. Are you looking for the 19th to be combined with that meeting on the 18th?
Yes.
Right.
So
Okay.
instead of the 12th, deferring to the 19th, we go from the 12th, deferring to the 18th.
Yep. So we would have no meeting next week. We would have our regular commissioners meeting on the afternoon of the 18th and not convene on the 19th.
Right, I have it tentatively. I have an obligation here in Bangor at 11:30. I should be done by 12:30. So anytime after that, considering the budget committee meeting's at 5, if we met at 3, that should give us an hour and a half to do our business and give you time enough to, a little break before the budget committee meets. So I would suggest 3 o'clock on Tuesday, the 18th.
Is that acceptable, Commissioner Trumbull?
That's fine.
Mr. Treasurer?
Yep. You won't be here.
Okay. All right, let it be so. We don't need to take a vote on that, do we, Mr. Atkins? We just
I don't believe so. No, we'll just have to facilitate,
Notification.
setup for that day. I mean, well, worst case scenario, just have it, we just do it in the setup for the
Have it all
budget meeting, have it all upstairs. Okay. I think it should work. Yep. 11, the 18th at 3.
We have notified people will be using the 3rd floor for the meeting on that day so that IT is able to get their equipment in place.
Yes.
Yep.
You set, you do that, did you? Oh, sweet.
I think they've got it set up to plug in anyways now.
It's going longer than you wanted, I know.
Okay. So then we come to the meeting of the 26th, which is the day before Thanksgiving. Is that still a meeting date for us?
That's Wednesday, the 26th, correct? That's fine by me as well.
Okay. Then we move into December.
What
December
about-
is first. Go ahead.
Let's do the time, let's set up the time, let's do one thing at a time here. What time on the
Alright.
20th, regular 10 o'clock? 10
I
o'clock?
think regular 10 o'clock on the 26th would be fine if that suits everyone's schedule.
As,
Okay.
Okay. Then we would move into December. And for December, there are a couple of conflicts we need to be aware of and look at. December 3rd, I have a conference I will be attending. I have an 11 o'clock meeting I have to chair at that meeting. So if we were to move earlier in the day from 9 till about 11, it would be a little earlier for you, Commissioner Marshall, but would that be acceptable?
yeah, that, or I had my notes here, I knew you're gonna be in Texas on some business there. I made a note, noontime commission. Is that what you're referring to or earlier? It doesn't matter to me.
Oh, we can certainly do it in that manner if you'd prefer. We could go from noon till 1 or 2. I do have a meeting that afternoon that I've got to get kicked off, but if necessary, I could have somebody else introduce the speakers there.
I'm pliable, whatever accommodates the other two commissioners.
We have to be out of the commission has to be out of this room by noontime
Okay, let's.
on that day,
So
so,
you wanna do it at 9?
yeah.
And so we're gonna move it to 9 AM, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman, on Wednesday the 9th, Wednesday the 3rd, 9 AM.
Yep.
in this room,
Yep.
not new.
And then if we're set on that, the next date is the 10th of December, which is also an in-person MCCA meeting. So I believe, I know I certainly will not be physically in Bangor for that day because the meeting is in Lincoln County.
Yeah, I'm gonna be there too, because I'm gonna be touring the Two Bridges facility on that day. So unless we absolutely have to meet that day, we could defer again to the 17th, skip a week, and if necessary, if we find we do have to meet, we could arrange it either the 9th or at some other
Yeah,
time.
that makes
Yeah,
sense.
you can arrange
We can
later.
decide to the meeting.
So let's tentatively, we're meeting on the 9th, on Wednesday, 9 o'clock, Wednesday the 3rd. We're skipping the 10th with a possibility of scheduling something if it's necessitated. But the next one after that will be on the 17th at 10 a.m. here at the regular meeting place.
Yeah. Does that work for everyone's schedule?
Does that work for you?
Oh, yeah.
Yep, it does, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. All right. Then the next question would be on the 23rd of December. Is that a date that people want?
24.
Well,
Let's make
Christmas
it the
is the
20th.
20th.
Why don't we make it the 23rd?
Yeah, I was gonna say, make them, yeah.
Yeah, we could do the 23rd.
Can you have this room on Tuesday?
Is that, Scott, we can have this room on Tuesdays?
The 23rd is not available, I'm being told, but we can go third floor. You can go third
Oh,
floor,
we can go third floor.
yeah. I
Mr.
think
Chairman,
once you get a taste of that, you're probably gonna wanna go up there.
did we lose the chair?
No, I'm here. I just was looking at my schedule and I do fly out that afternoon. So if we could do it in the morning on the 23rd, that would be,
That's fine. Would you like to do it at the same 10 a.m.? Would that accommodate your schedule, Mr.
I
Chair?
think that would be fine, yeah.
23rd, Tuesday the 23rd, third floor, Scott?
Yes,
On the third floor, 10 a.m.
Yep.
yeah. And I would just suggest, as we finalize this moving forward, that try to keep Mary Ann as informed as possible. She does a great job at keeping
Yeah.
things organized with regards to the rooms.
And that takes us through.
Well, it doesn't. I assume you're saying we will not meet on the 31st of December.
Well, I'm a teetotaler, and I'm not gonna be impacted. I don't know.
Wait,
what
first
you
minute. Actually, don't we
guys-
usually have to do, isn't something usually has to be done right at the end of the year as far as the budget, some over?
You're supposed, yeah, you need to get the budget in, so that'd probably be done either the 3rd or the 10th.
We carry,
Probably
aren't there a lot
the
of
3rd.
carryovers that get done at the last meeting?
So,
Although you don't realize those till like later it's
Okay.
usually like in the middle of January.
Okay, that would be the last.
Till now.
Okay.
do you wanna make a tentative, meeting at the end of December, subject to change if necessary?
Yeah, the 31st is New Year's Eve, so you wanna go the 30th, or do you mind being on New Year's Eve?
No big deal during the day.
Okay, yep.
Bring the champagne.
I don't, it doesn't make any
Keep
difference.
it regular scheduled, and, again, any adjustments,
I just
Mary
don't
Ann
wanna be
will-
on the road around midnight.
Yeah. Yeah, okay,
So we're looking at the 31st,
yes. All right.
10 a.m.?
Yes.
Yeah. I probably can't make it, but you guys can have it anyways.
Zoom in.
I can zoom in, yeah. Zoo in, is that what you're
Okay. Anything else on the schedule, or do you think we've got that covered for the remainder of 25? And
We're all set here.
I think we're good there. Yeah, thank you.
all right, you have an update on the budget meeting you wanted to share?
I believe, so again, it's Tuesday, the 18th, as we just discussed, it'll be after the commissioner meeting that day. The books are about 99% ready to roll. I know Commissioner Marshall has expressed wanting a couple to take to him, unless the only reason that they're not prepped and ready to go is I was waiting to see what happened today.
I'll hang around till you get it done, and
So, yeah, I think we have a couple changes to make on the budget committee sheet.
I'll go with
page,
Brian
so, yeah.
and do the things we need to do, and I'll swing back to your office.
Yep, so that was it on that.
Great. Now,
I would just make the observation, gentlemen, that I did ask the administrator if he could prepare a couple of options to present to the budget committee. I think this year we may want to reflect on a slightly different format. We have historically gone through every budget and allowed each department to make a presentation. We may want to see if handling that in a different manner would allow us time for discussion with those who are present, especially in light of what this year's budget entails.
Yeah, I don't really have, I think this can be a simple presentation where, you know, the computation page that you have in your budget books, which currently shows at 1979.
Yeah.
Then, basically, the major adjustment would be to the cap. How does it look if I reduce $1 million? What does it look like if I reduce to 2 million, which some have referred to as half? And on those 2 years, highlight the negative impacts of that.
And that negative impact will be interpreted as a tax increase.
The more positive tax increase, or the lower tax increase, would kind of be a positive to it. The negative would be, as you know, it reduces cash flow, has a negative effect on cash flow. You're gonna have to borrow more, which means you pay to borrow more. And the overall undesignated fund balance or equity of the county when it comes to any further borrowing or borrowing for a new
But the
facility
trade-off
with
is
the
we don't
bond
kick
bank.
this down the road any further.
Correct. That really, I'm going to give them to you. As your administrator, I really hesitate to give them to anybody, because if you have the option, it's easier to make that choice. But I will lay it out as specific as I typically do. If you take that route, the important piece, if anybody chooses, if the end result is to go one of those other two alternative routes, this municipal group and the county's finance and treasurer should get together, and you need a game plan. Because that will show anybody that you're borrowing, go to borrow from. You know, Danny, you know it, when you go to borrow from a bank, you gotta have a business plan.
Yeah.
And that's what you need. You need a business plan like yesterday.
That shows solvency in the future.
Yeah, under any scenario.
Yeah.
But it becomes even more prudent under, if you reduce this at all. So,
It's gotta be reduced.
just two thoughts I had. One, I believe I talked to the chair about this in conversation, was you've got 120,000 in Department 32 that you could, for 1 year, take a break from. That is the contributions to the capital items for both the parking lot, and I would reach out, if you have questions, reach out to Facilities Director McDonald to see if, you know, what his stance is on that. Again, having a capital plan would really help with that, but you could take that 1 year reduction, but if you put it back in next year, that's just gonna jump. The other option is with regards to PIL. I believe half of the PIL goes into the budget and half does not. I will look more specifically. If you put all of the PIL in there, which is payment in lieu of taxes, it was referred to today once as these payments sort of should benefit that area, so up in Katahdin, the Katahdin.
Woods and Waters.
Woods and Waters, I apologize. However, to me, that's like taking Bangor's payment and specifically applying it to Bangor, or Brewer's payment, but again, just whether you take that into consideration or not, that is, on the revenue side, something to bring forward that could help you reduce this.
That is a policy decision being made by 3 commissioners.
Yep.
How much is that?
I would have to specifically look it up.
How much is in right now?
No, I'm looking at.
Yeah. I will look it up and I will reach out to you. I want to reach back out to
It's
you.
1.4 or something, isn't it?
Well, that's the overall. I'm not talking about draining the account. I'm talking about taking the annual tax payment that we receive and put it entirely towards the tax base.
The 1 year.
For 1 year, well,
Yeah.
yeah, you could choose 1 year, 2 year.
Well, that's what I'm
You
saying.
I would recommend that under both of these, that in moving forward, again, this is what's important about that game plan, is you slowly bring them back. So that's the caution on the capital plan, is you wouldn't take out 120 this year and put 120 back in next year. You might go 40, 40, 40, you might go 30, 30, 40,
So
yeah.
you say 40, 60, 60, 60.
But a capital plan and working with facilities director McDonald and with Brenda, with finance director Palmer, that would be the prudent approach.
Yeah, okay,
So I will try to remember to highlight all this in an email and get it out to you.
thank you.
All right, any further questions regarding the budget from the commission or the treasurer?
Oh, I could tell you folks that, the TN is paid in full. And we made a partial payment to the ARPA, what we borrowed from ARPA.
Yeah.
And my intention is in another couple of weeks, because we still have some outstanding property taxes, that we would pay the ARPA back in full.
The TAN was the higher percentage, right?
TN was the bank.
What was the difference between the interest for TAN and the interest for ARPA?
Well, we pay
It was,
ourselves.
I mean, I know, but.
yeah, it was around, it was around a percent, and then I think it's increased because the, Machias interest has gone down,
Oh, okay,
so
Yeah,
but about 1%.
Yeah.
Well, that's a savings.
roughly somewhere.
That's good. We like that.
Yeah,
well,
so.
that's our intention.
As the treasurer said, a couple thoughts, and he and I discussed, is, the commission always has a consideration, on the county's behalf
Right.
of not paying ARPA interest. That is a separate account, I'm just saying, or you can pay the interest in it, do due diligence, pay the interest in it, and then decide to take a transfer out of it.
That is an unencumbered account,
But,
correct?
however, I would, and I've spoken to the treasurer, and I would just like to state this, that I feel it's very important, and it's prudent upon the county to pay off ARPA, pay off all the borrowing at the end of the year, just like you did with the TAN. We may not have enough cash flow to get through the end of the year, but you recreate a new borrowing agreement and
Yeah.
schedule with
We
ARPA.
have less
If
of
you
that.
need $1 million or a couple million at the end of the year, and then that's incorporated into your TAN, so that immediately when you get your TAN, you pay that off.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, along with those,
Makes sense.
that point, I think it would be helpful for me if we could get an update from the ARPA administrator, because we've used the ARPA funds to lessen the impact that we need to borrow for TAN, but also, we couldn't get through the year without the ARPA funds, even if we borrowed as much as you could with the TAN. So, I mean, we're gonna start spending out most of these, when do they have to be all spent, by the end of 2026?
Next year.
So,
Yeah,
next year, we're not gonna have this luxury, so I'd just like to see what's left for funds, as, these groups that still are committed to funds, if they're on track to get the funds, if they're doing what they need to do, so, if we could just get an update on what's left out there and how it's looking with the groups.
Yeah, and if there's an assessment, if there is an outstanding ARPA grant that looks like they're not gonna be coming in under the required time frame, that money would revert to the county for reallocation for whatever reason. Am I correct in
Not for
that?
whatever reason.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Wendy.
It's not for whatever reason, it has to be in line with the original allocation.
Yeah, but that could include county obligations?
I think at this point,
Yeah, maxed
it
out
would
on
be,
the county.
it would be really hard to,
We
you could get special
we could allocate
permission,
it
but,
back to us.
if the federal government's not back,
You're not gonna get it from Washington.
if the feds aren't back to work, then,
No,
yeah.
but I don't wanna give them back anything we've legally got from them to begin with. They don't need to, we don't need to turn that
No,
back
we
to
would have to
Washington, have
reallocate it
them
to another.
give it to New York or
Similar
somewhere
I
else.
think all of our projects are, achievable. I think just the several need a little push, and,
There's the one up in my area that we're concerned with,
yep,
and I've got a communication that they're gonna break ground in the spring. They should have broken ground this summer. They are fully a year behind. And that's, I think it's 1.1 million or something like.
Is it, who are you speaking of, the hospital?
I'm talking about the assisted living through Penquist in Millinocket.
Oh,
that's not,
That is us.
we did, the one
the
we,
building next
the one we
door.
visited.
Remember they told us they were gonna do something next door with the housing, but that was, our ARPA funds are in that building for
Oh, yeah.
apartments, right?
Yes, they
Yeah, I don't
already had
think-
started spending on that, yeah.
Yeah, that's come to a screeching halt for several
I
months,
think at
so.
this point, it would be prudent if we allowed the administrator to get some more clarity on this and give that report as Commissioner Trumbull asked. I think publicly, we shouldn't be surmising what can or can't be done with ARPA funds until we have a clearer picture of this. I know I read an article yesterday, Lincoln County has just rescinded ARPA funds for Wiscasset because their project morphed into something that was not in the application. So they felt an obligation to withdraw that approval for the about $240,000.
Okay.
So if there's nothing further on the budget at this point, let's move on to approval of the warrants, and then we do have some executive sessions.
I move we approve the warrants stipulated, it's still agenda item I, is it, Scott?
Yes.
Item I, under the warrants for the meeting of November 5th.
Second,
I have a motion and a second. Do I have further discussion?
the finance director.
I need you guys to sign off on the warrant to pay the, ARPA funds.
ARPA funds, yeah.
Oh, so is that already in here?
No,
No. So we're gonna pay
Do
4
I get a
million.
check?
We owe them 6.5. We're gonna do 4
Four.
Oh,
today.
good, that's the one you just talked about.
right, because we still have $2.5
Just make sure we're not
million.
surmising.
But we're waiting
How do
for,
you get the commissioners, how do you get the chair's signature? You do that electronically?
You got two commissioners, that's satisfactory until I.
Yeah.
I'll leave it with Mary Ann. Is that okay?
All right, so you got the permission. Have at it.
Okay, we still have a vote pending on the floor regarding the warrant.
Yep.
So do I understand that ARPA warrant was not included on this list, or is that?
That's correct.
Well, it's not, but you can include it, add it to the motion and, yep.
Amend the motion to include ARPA.
And what amount is that ARPA in, please?
And he
4
seconded.
million.
4 million. And Commissioner Trumbull has seconded, if you didn't hear.
Okay, thank you. So we have added an amendment to cover the repayment of a portion of the ARPA funds as noted in the warrant, which we will include in this vote. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is unanimous. At this point, is there anything further, Scott, or are we ready to go to executive session?
Ready to roll.
Okay, I believe we still have 3 executive sessions, 1 for personnel and 2 for contract.
I move we go into executive session on, under Title 1, Section 405 on personal matters. And is there another one?
Yeah.
2 contracts.
2 contract matters.
Contract.
Yeah.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
It is unanimous. We'll take a short break and then return.